Tonight, I want to bring up to the stage with me, Patrick Lancaster. And we are so excited to have you here today. And I need another mic. Thank you very much. Okay. Wave to the nice people out in Facebook land, if you would, while I pull up my interview questions. Well, you know, I could read off of your book, or your very own paper right there that I sent you. So, what would you consider your hometown to be?
Well, I was born in West Texas, but thankfully my parents escaped when I was a year old. Yes. So, Winslow, Arizona is my hometown, and
Wait, but you're happier to be from Winslow?
oh yes. Well, but see, okay, there's my parents have been there since the 1890s. So, or not my parents. I hope they're not watching this.
We'll edit that part out the next time around.
No, my ancestors have been there since 1890s and actually surveyed the town. So that's home.
So you could have really chimed in on the ancestry part. You didn't, but because you're just saving it for right now. Okay.
It.
Well, if you had to live anywhere else besides Phoenix, where would that be?
Currently, the scenic country of Liberia, West Africa, because it's just God is doing so many big things there. They're coming out of a 14-year civil war, and just to see a country rebuild and the people turn to Him, such terrible atrocities were committed there, and so the people to get healed are just relying completely on the Lord. So what a dynamic place to be.
I'm going to ask you to hold your mic up a little bit so we can
Okay.
all hear you. So tell me a little bit about how you got involved in even discovering what's going on in Liberia.
Well, a friend of mine went in 2009 and got back and connected me with some friends over there. And so I went. I was interested in the history for some reason, and I couldn't understand why that country just drew me the way it did. And then after my second trip, I discovered that some of my other family, on the other side of the family, had helped educate and train people returning over there after the Civil War. So it's like the Lord was bringing things back around. So
That's awesome. So when's the first time that you went?
I went in 2010 and was just blown away. I just could not believe the simplicity of life and, just the way that they pray and worship. If you've ever been to Africa, you know what I'm talking about. They just pray when they need things. They don't have a committee. They don't put up an Excel spreadsheet with budget items and things like that. They're just like, we need this. We're taking it to the Lord. Done. And they believe 100%. There's absolutely no doubt whatsoever when they pray. Incredible.
So when you went over there for the first time, I think we all have an idea that we're going to go over and help. Mm-hmm. It seems to be our attitude. But what were some of the things that you were just really amazed by that God was already doing when you got there?
Just simplicity. They just deal with what they have. They fix things. They do not have a disposable type society like we do, where if something breaks, you can just go buy another one. And I was just blown away by how positive they are and how much they trust God. And it's like, no matter what the situation was, we got stuck in rain, mud, no complaints whatsoever. They just dealt with it. I met, you'll see a picture behind me of a woman. She runs an orphanage. She used to rescue children during the Civil War because the children were getting conscripted to be child soldiers, and she would stash them out in the jungle and move them place to place to keep them safe. And then after the war was over, she started an orphanage. That sacrifice and commitment, just incredible.
Wow. Well, it seems like none of these questions matter after that, but I do. I'd like to continue my interview if I may.
Please.
So, what's your favorite restaurant in Phoenix? So awful.
Chick-fil-A, baby. There's no substitute. You just cannot top it.
What do you order from Chick-fil-A?
The nuggets, because you can just pop them and pop them and pop them. and you got to have the waffle fries, and you got to have the barbecue sauce. Of course, 2 hours later, you're regretting it, but
It does taste great going down. I agree. Your all-time favorite movie?
okay. Disclaimer. Yes. I like movies about relationships. I'm a guy. I'm a sensitive guy. So there's 3 about relationships, all right? First one, Star Trek II. Spock dies, gives himself up for the rest of the ship. You can't beat that. You know, ending Kirk and Spock's, okay. Back to the Future, you know? Yeah. That one I'm kind of biased toward because growing up I was told I look like Michael J. Fox. So that's, yeah.
I would like to see an impersonation later.
I can't do this, no. Dumb and Dumber.
I knew I liked you.
You know, that's one of those movies, you turn it on any time of the day, it's golden. And that's, again, about relationships, right?
Absolutely.
Their friendships tested.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Going after the love of your life.
Yes.
Your last name,
actually, he was
Samsonite.
stalking, but...
Yeah.
And last but not least, 12 Angry Men. I do like that character study. If you've never seen it, seen the original from the 60s, incredible, with Henry Fonda.
I don't know how I managed to let you slide 4 favorite movies in there, but you managed to do that, so we'll move right along. Do you want me to ask that? I usually give people a buy out of it.
Why not?
Okay.
Let's just go for it.
Your most embarrassing moment?
Okay, there comes a time in every young man's life when he's standing there talking to girls, trying to impress them while in gym class, and a guy that he knows since first grade comes up behind him and pantses him. Yeah, that was easily the most embarrassing moment because there were like 3 or 4 girls like all standing around, and I was chatting him up and this and that. I did get him back though. I got him back big time. So yeah.
Should I ask, or will that get you?
What did I do?
Yeah.
Oh, I returned the favor.
Oh, got it,
Yeah,
got it.
with even more people around.
Nice. Well, goes around, comes around. So what was the oddest job that you've ever had?
I worked for TWA one summer throwing bags down in Tucson. U of A, yes? Anybody?
Go Devils.
Okay. But, so that's how I paid for college one summer. And like, you work for the airlines, you see everything. I mean, we loaded like pets, we loaded caskets. And the ultimate was, I quit after this. I had the lavatory dump on me, like from here down, out of the side of the plane. And I had 6 hours to go on my shift, and my supervisor made me finish. And you know what he said? He said, "Oh, just spray some of that citrus stuff on yourself." So yeah, I was done after that. The blue water, yeah, it's not.
You know that really, normally I'm pretty good with transitions, and I've got nothing there. So tell me, how did you become a follower of Jesus?
Lavatory to Jesus, you know, it's only Jen could do that. Okay. Well, you know what's interesting is like I went to Sunday school with Grandma and Grandpa, you know, really conservative church growing up, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, you know, most people there were in their 70s and 80s. So I heard about Jesus, you know, he's a shepherd and he's God's son, but it wasn't until a friend of mine took me to a different church where they said, you have to receive Jesus as Savior and Lord, you know? And that's when I'm like, really? And that was in high school. So that was huge because that was the first time I actually heard you have to accept Christ. And once I did that, it was, you know, gates just opened. Petra was the first concert I ever went to, so.
Followed by Stryper, yeah. Carmen, maybe later.
It's great mullets.
So I do want to just end with a little bit more. I know that you're planning another trip to Africa this summer.
Yes, June.
And that's with YWAM. Is that who you went with before?
It's actually Young Life.
Oh, Young Life, excuse me. Okay. And so tell me a little bit about where you're going, what you'll be doing while you're on that trip.
This will be, again, Liberia for the 4th time. You know, there's a small team. Last year we went with 12, but this time we're going with probably 4 or 5. But yeah, you know, I just can't wait to go. I look forward to being there and with them and just, you know, disconnecting. It's all They have cell phones and Facebook here and there, but it's just, you just focus on the Lord. You let everything else go. And each time, I just learn something new from them. I don't teach them a thing; they teach me. And it's just, if you ever go on a mission trip or have the opportunity to get out of the United States, I can't stress enough, you got to do it.
So how can we be praying for you? This trip takes place in June, is that
Yes.
right? Okay.
We're still raising funds. I need about 1,200 more to go. I've got about 2,300. But also, more importantly than that, just that God changes lives. A lot of the kids that come to our camps that we do, their parents and their older brothers and sisters were the ones who were in the war. And this is the first generation coming up that actually has a fair shot at life that's unencumbered by what happened during the Civil War. So we just teach them about Jesus and just love them unconditionally. So, kids are the future. And so, thank you.
Well, I'd love to have you back with us later this summer when we can hear a little bit more about your trip and hear a report and maybe see some more pictures.
There will be thousands of pictures, as usual. Yes, thank you.
Actually, I know that. So thank you so much, Patrick, for
Okay.
introducing us to Africa and yourself and sharing your most embarrassing moment. I appreciate that. Anybody else I've interviewed has dodged that question, and he went for it. So good job, Patrick. Appreciate that.